Today on Nerd and Normal, social media and adult content bans, lawsuits making social media change, how it all works.
Welcome to Nerd and Normal with Matthew and Gareth, opening your mind to the world of technology. So let's get started.
Matthew the Nerd, good day, how are you?
Not bad, Normal. How are you going today, Gareth?
Listen, I'm exceedingly well, and I'll be better when we finish. We look at the social media and the disaster that it seems to have created right across the planet. I got to start with the obvious question: the social media under 16 ban. How's it going? Got any feedback?
I have these days, and it's good and not so good. It's a case of, yes, Facebook and all those other organisations have banned multiple accounts over the last few months, and they're keeping a lot of the young people off, but the young people are now moving to other social media websites, and they're finding ways, unsurprisingly, to get past these age restrictions once again. It's a case of, if a child can work it out, it gets shared around a school.
How true is that? What's this I hear with all of the things we want to talk about today, that you can create your own VPN or create a VPN, which I wouldn't know how to do, and you can bypass all that. What does that mean?
So we'll come to this with the next thing we're going to talk about, but a VPN, you don't create your own, but you've got to pay for it. It allows you to appear as if you're coming from somewhere else. With the social media services, they're the big companies, so they can actually get there and say, well, we know who all the VPN providers are, and we're going to say that any VPN service is blocked from our website outright. So that way you can't get on. If you're using a VPN service, which is where you arrive to a website, not a direct connection through your NBN or through your phone, but through another system in another country, they can block those things straight away. And that's what people try to do, and those aren't working.
So to create, if a young person wants to create a VPN or use a VPN that isn't their home computer's VPN, have they got to pay for the new VPN? Is it an essential thing to actually pay for it before you can use it?
It is. So you actually have subscribed to a VPN, and you usually pay for a month or a few years in advance, and it then means you can go through the website, pretend you're coming from somewhere else. So you can appear to be from your house. That's what you use actually for work as well. It's where you arrive on a computer that's in your work's office, and you appear like you're coming from the work's office rather than from your actual address. It's the same thing for social media and websites. You can appear to be coming from somewhere else in the world and then arrive on a website and
why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that?
So the main reason comes down to content. There's been many times that some organisations put what they call geo-block bans on certain access to their websites. So, for example, with the BBC and their iPlayer service, if you try and access that from Australia, you get blocked because you're not in the UK. The idea being they want to try and keep it actually in their own thing. And also, for example, also with that is the, say, National Rugby League or AFL in the years gone by, they blocked people from overseas accessing the different radio station or TV stations that were streaming those things to Australian customers. That way, only the Australians could actually get there and watch those things on the free-to-air services.
I don't want to create a situation where we're helping people circumvent the law, but how do you create a VPN? Is there a site where you go and you list how does it happen? So
it's a case you've got to sign up for them. There's multiple different providers around the world that do this. There's things like NordVPN. There's things like Wireshark. There's Surfshark. A whole lot of different providers out there. They all have good and bad features. I've always had a VPN available to me. That way I can do things for research purposes. And I won't say which one I use, but I do use one, and I have done so for a very long time. Done, again, for research purposes, because I've got to appear coming from multiple websites and multiple locations around the world as part of my research, so I do use a VPN for that situation. But another way around it also is you can use the Tor browser, which we've spoken about in the past, that gets you access to the dark web. These Tor browsers also hide where you're coming from, and they don't use a VPN, and it's completely free. Now, I haven't checked and tested yet to see if that will get past the social media ban for under 16s. I've yet to do that because I haven't had a chance to, but that might be a way to get around it for free.
Surely, though, a young person is going to be more alert and in touch with how they can get around things on the computer and technology than me, the normal, or even, dare I say it, you, the nerd. Surely it's going to be easy for them to create
It is.
A situation where it looks like they're coming from New Zealand or England or Armenia.
as is the case, when we were at school, they had the fake IDs that people would get there and make in schools and give to younger people. It's the same all the time. The young ones are the ones that help progress technology and how to get past the different barriers.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the lawmakers are the ones that always think, no, they can't do it. When in actual fact, the kids are the one, the smart kids that know technology and have used it all the way through, understand how it works. They're the ones you want in there to help you try and make the laws.
As we spoke about when we spoke to Dr. John Irvine, the child clinical psychologist, surely social media and access to it for a younger person is a safety net. Firstly, they can talk to their friends, obviously, but denying them access to organisations and people that might be able to help them in difficult circumstances. I know there's the issue of bullying, etc., but surely the ban has created problems. It solves some things, but surely it's created problems. Mental health.
It's a case of with the young people finding out there's other social media websites out there they can use that aren't in the banned list. They're migrating to those now because, again, kids from different schools talk to each other, whether they're catching the bus or the train with each other, and they end up saying, oh, I use this social media website with my friends, and they still communicate very freely, very openly under the age of 16 on those other websites. I won't say what some of them are, but there are a multitude of them these days springing up all over the place. None of them are known by, unfortunately, the older people that do the legislation and make the laws and make the rules, but the kids do know about them.
So has the ban actually stopped people in that age group, a lot of people in that age group, from accessing social media? Has it actually worked? Because countries around the world are saying, if Australia can do it, we can do it.
I'm going to give a one-word answer to that. No.
Right.
It's that simple. It comes down to it has moved them off the platforms they were on beforehand and put them on other unregulated platforms around the world. And this is what happens all the time. New platforms spring up, and those new platforms are where they always go to. And that way they can be openly doing things there and continue whatever they're doing on the other platforms. And it's like, you think back 2 years ago, we had MySpace. And everyone migrated to MySpace and did stuff on MySpace. Then Facebook came along, everyone went to Facebook. It was always the young people went first. Young people went to Facebook, the young people went eventually and started using it. So Instagram, TikTok, the list goes on. Oh, the young ones find it, the old ones then eventually find it, and then the young ones move on to somewhere else. Same with this.
Is TikTok one of the banned sites for a young person?
It is.
Because TikTok surely is, of all of the various social media outlets, that's the young one. That's the younger access one.
It was originally, but even now TikTok is starting to become, the average age is starting to go up again as the old people are moving on to TikTok.
Are you suggesting that because I've joined TikTok, the age demographic is aged significantly? Don't go there, okay? Don't go there. In Australia, there's now been introduced Safety Act, which prohibits people accessing porn sites, etc. How does that work, and what are the likely outcomes of it?
So this is a bit more of a far-reaching thing than what the social media ban was. Social media focused on the large companies, the Facebooks, the Microsofts, the Reddits, the TikToks, all those larger companies. This new one they've put through with the Safety Commissioner, that one focuses on the industry as a whole, which involves a lot of smaller websites that can't afford to pay the fines. So what's happened is, while people have made ways around showing I'm this certain age, there are two issues with these pornography websites. The first one is they're smaller. They can't afford to pay the multi-million-dollar fines to the government if they have people going on there that aren't the correct age. But they also can't implement the technologies required to do age verifications, and they also can't implement the checks required to do VPN blocking. So you then have these websites are saying, well, we can't do this. We financially can't do this for Australians. So what they're doing now is just outright blocking everybody from Australia at this point in time. It doesn't block you if you're using a VPN from getting on there, but it does block you from accessing the website full stop. You can't apply to them. You can't sign up to it. You can't do age verification. You can't pay them with a credit card. They just block you straight away. It's done.
So in other words, these companies overseas have said Australia is persona non grata. No access. Full stop. We've blocked it.
Yep, exactly right. Gone. There are some that are saying that we can still access those websites because they're larger companies that focus on that feature. And so you can sign up to them and do your age verifications. They have the software implemented. and they have the systems where they can probably afford to pay the multi-million-dollar fines. But the smaller ones are saying, no, outright, no, you're from Australia, you're not coming on here anymore.
So this is sites that are porn-based, right?
Yes.
Because I knew we were going to be talking about it, I made a few attempts to get onto different sites. How is the escort sites go onto site and search people and book an escort? Why were they not included in the ban? Because isn't that a form of porn?
That should be. It's one of the things that, again, they implement the laws, legislation without properly thinking through what the implications are. For example, there's a website that I've used for a couple of years to help me organise and do the research into AI. This website focuses on providing AI libraries for to actually learn on and to get the databases needed to make AI and test it. That website has blocked Australian customers outright. It's a case of I've paid the money in the past for their databases they've got access to.
But that's not a porn site.
No,
why have they blocked it?
Because there are features on that website that involve naked people. It's not a case of it's a naked person website, but it's an AI thing which can create naked people. And so it gets the situation of, it could be porn related. We're going to, for safety reasons, because we can't afford these multi-million-dollar fines, we're going to block you as well because you're from Australia. And this is where, again, legislation has jumped the gun without first planning what the situation is actually going to be.
So ChatGPT, if I went on to ChatGPT and said, praise or describe a beautiful woman, it would block me.
No, it's a case of a lot of those, because again, ChatGPT, these sort of websites that do AI, they have the features built into their algorithms already that they won't provide those sort of adult content. But it's the ones that provide the databases where you can then run that AI of your own off the internet. Those are the ones that are currently blocking Australians. It's a case of they don't provide adult content per se, but their databases could be used to produce adult content. And so because of that...
That I understand. What are the implications of the Online Safety Act? What are the implications for Australia as a whole?
It's a case of, for somebody like myself that does research into online security, AI and other bits and pieces, I now have a harder time getting access to the data that I need to do my research properly. So it means that I can't get there and check on AI as it's happening, as it's evolving and things are getting better with it, because the AI databases that I use to then run things on my own computers to test things, I now have a harder time getting access to. But it also means one of the biggest incomes when it comes to the internet around the world is pornography. It's a case of pornography's led development of technology for decades, whether it be home videos, the internet, it doesn't matter. That is a huge feature of the progression of technology. So this is now going to stymie that technology progression in Australia, but also going to put that whole industry underground here in Australia, because it's now banned pretty much in Australia. So those who produce that content in Australia are going to have to go underground and find ways to get around this ban to make their income.
So I'm reminded back in the 1930s in the United States, they banned alcohol virtually, and all it created was an underground set of speakeasies and various things. So banning something that is part of society never works, I would think.
No, I understand the reason behind it. Again, it's trying to keep it away from children, but the way they implement it, again, is incorrect. They've done it ham-fisted deliberately to try and get it knocked on the head quickly. But in the background, yes, it is seeing things underground, which will cause less legislation to be able to follow through and test it than what it actually has right now. But in my situation, it actually means that I can't research things as easy as I could beforehand.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's the perfect leap into what's just happened in the last week or two in the United States of America. I think California in particular, which is a pretty advanced sort of state in the US of A. They've taken on Meta and Google, and they're saying that their sites are addictive, and they encourage children to go into things that they shouldn't be encouraging. What's happened there, and what are the implications, again, for the world?
So it wasn't just those two involved with the lawsuit originally. Other companies were involved, like TikTok was actually involved as well. It comes down to the way their programs are made is in a way that allows their websites to show you content that's dictated and shown directed to you and what you actually like. So it becomes addictive because you think, I like this content, I'll watch more of it. I'll look at more of this, I'll look at more of this.
Yep.
And it ends up you get stuck on there. And it's all well and good if the content that you're being shown all the time is good. Doesn't always happen though. Sometimes you watch a video that might not be such a positive video, and then the algorithm says, well, you watch this all the way to the end, so I'll show you another similar sort of video to this, which again might not be a very positive video, and so it goes on and on and on. So what's been found is they've found that, and this was a jury, not a judge, a jury in the US found that yes, the algorithms used by Meta and by Google actually do cause addiction, which actually means that it's now opened up for legislation, for lawsuits, for them to be sued because of damages caused by this addiction. It's like addiction to all sorts of different drugs and alcohol and cigarettes. All those addictions that were found eventually occurred meant that some companies can be sued for those addictions. It now opens up that for those companies as well.
So, again, coming back to the same question, what are the implications for social media in general then, if this is likely to happen? Because if enough people take collective action against Google, well, that could cost Google lots of money. Implications?
It can cost lots of money to all of them because it can be an individual can now sue, at this situation as it is now, an individual can sue the social media companies for damages caused by loss of income, loss of job, loss of livelihood, loss of mental capacity, a whole range of different things. But it comes down to what the situation will be in years to come. Once this legislation has been passed, yes, these companies are responsible for these algorithms being addictive. It will end up leading to lawsuits, which will then lead to them trying to modify the algorithms, which will no doubt reduce the effectiveness of these algorithms, also reducing the effectiveness of the websites. People won't want to see content they don't want to see anymore, which means they're going to go somewhere else. So which means their ad revenue is going to go down as well. So it's a case of the businesses, Facebook and YouTube, are not content websites. They're advertising websites. So if their number of viewers goes down because people say, oh, you're addictive, I'm going to get off you now, advertisers will leave those platforms. Their revenue goes down. They're going to have less people giving them money. They're going to end up closing up.
So social media is under attack.
It is, and it's about bloody time too.
That will be edited out. He didn't mean to swear, but hey, he's a nerd, so I don't think he knows.
I think bloody's okay, word. But as someone we do this on YouTube, so it's on YouTube, which is social media. But again, we should not be dictated to what we see, what we watch, what we read by an algorithm, because you end up seeing the same content from the same providers over and over and over again, or the same or similar sort of providers all the time. So your own little echo chamber gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's where the issue arises.
But without looking at any form of social media, whatever a person likes is what that person will go and seek out. So all the algorithm is doing surely is saying, this is what the person likes, so I will give this person what she or he likes. I can't see the dilemma there.
The issue, though, is the fact that it's so pinpointed down to the person. I watched a video from another YouTuber yesterday, actually, that showed that Google knew very clearly where they were from, how old they were, their sexuality, their age, everything about them, just from what they'd been watching on YouTube and doing in their Google searches. Why should a business be able to pinpoint you down to your exact location, your age, everything about you, from your Google searches, from your videos you watch on YouTube, from your scrolling through Facebook? That is a bit excessive, and that's where the addiction comes into it.
But mate, it is what that person chose to search. It was not Google indicating to you, I'm going to control and give you an addiction. The person had that before they went to Google. I'm not trying to say Google is right or wrong in this situation. Forget social media, forget the camera. A person likes what a person likes. And if a person seeks out the things he or she likes, then that's their decision. They didn't have to go onto Google and be manipulated, because they weren't being manipulated. They were simply doing and looking at things they like. I can't see the moral dilemma there.
Initially, it would have been that, but then over time, being given the same content and reinforcing that content, it can sway someone's thoughts. If you're seeing the same content all the time, eventually you might be over here with your thoughts, and then eventually you might get moved over to the other side. You never can tell with how much content being produced these days.
Yeah, George Orwell, 1984, tried to say that. But anyway, social media, whatever way or whatever position you take, seems to be under attack. And that is good in some respects and bad in other respects. And I go back to our first topic, and that is the teenage ban on social media. I don't think enough thought went into the possible implications of such a thing happening. But hey, I'm a victim of social media too. I look at TikTok.
Mostly your own page these days. Actually, what is your TikTok website these days?
I'm not telling you.
We can put it down the bottom here.
No.
But yeah, it's a case of social media has a good feature and bad feature. It's a case of, I think it's gone too far to the bad right now. Let's bring it back a little bit. Make social media more social and not quite so echo chambery.
Okay. Interesting topics, my friend, and I'm glad we discussed them, particularly the inactivity. Anyway, social media. Let's support it. It helps us, but let's be critical of it when it causes us damage.
It does. Hey, if you want to get then have your say about social media, whether it be here on YouTube or somewhere else, comment down below. Let us know your thoughts.
Down there. Please. And like it and subscribe to it. Support what we're saying. We want your input.
Yes, and
Forget social media.
Give us questions. Send us
please.
an email. nerdandnormalpodcast@gmail.com. Get your emails into us. I reckon another question episode's coming up shortly, but next week I want to talk about AI again. I've been doing a fair bit of testing of AI, and it's interesting to know how different AIs have different purposes. They're not all the same. Some are better than others for certain purposes.
We have a guest coming up sometime in April who's a social media expert, and I read a thing she posted the other day. She said occasionally she uses ChatGPT to send an email. And she noticed when she got a response from the person that they were using ChatGPT to answer her email. So is that a case of two robots talking to each other or two people talking to each other? Yet to be discussed. Mate, have a lovely day.
You too, guys. See you next week.